What if I told you that the biggest barrier to your success is not external circumstances, not a lack of talent or opportunities, but something much more elusive and deeply personal? What if that very moment when you stand on the threshold of triumph turns into an inexplicable terror for you, forcing you to retreat or, worse, to destroy everything with your own hands? This is a paradoxical drama playing out in the souls of many. We crave success, but subconsciously we fear it, as if it carries a hidden threat. Carl Jung, the great Swiss psychiatrist and thinker, dedicated his life to exploring these dark, uncharted depths of the human psyche. He would say that this fear is not just a random emotion, but the voice of our shadow, that part of us we deny, but which tirelessly influences our destiny. Today, we won't just talk about the fear of success. We will take a bold dive into the Jungian universe to come face to face with the 7 shadow demons, powerful inner forces that subtly, yet authoritatively, block our path to self-realization. And, most importantly, we won't just make a diagnosis. Following Jung's wisdom, we will find the keys to their transformation, to turn these inner saboteurs from enemies into the most loyal allies on the path to success that doesn't destroy, but heals and fills with meaning. Are you ready to look into your shadow and discover what incredible power is hidden there? Part 1. The Shadow and the Paradox of Success, a Jungian View. Before we delve into the analysis of specific shadow demons, let's refresh our memory, or perhaps encounter for the first time the fundamental concept of Jungian psychology, the shadow. For Carl Jung, the shadow is not synonymous with evil or something unequivocally negative. It is rather the other side of our personality, the sum of all those qualities, impulses, desires, memories, and potentials that we, for one reason or another, have repressed from consciousness, deemed unacceptable, shameful, or simply inconvenient for our ego ideal or social mask, the persona. Our fears, insecurities, envy, and anger can hide in the shadow, but there, paradoxically, can also lurk our undiscovered talents, suppressed life force, our authenticity, and unconditional self-love that we were afraid to show. Jung wrote, "The shadow is that which a person does not acknowledge, but which is nevertheless present in them." So, what is the paradox of success from the shadow's perspective? Success, in its conventional understanding, be it a career rise, financial well-being, recognition, happy relationships, is what most of us consciously strive for. However, on an unconscious level, this very aspiration and its possible achievement can activate our shadow guardians. Why? Because success is often associated with changes that challenge our habitual way of being. It requires us to step out of the shadows, literally and figuratively, become more visible, take on new responsibilities, face new expectations, and, possibly, the envy or criticism of others. All of this can be perceived by our shadow as a threat. Success, like a bright spotlight, can illuminate not only our strengths but also those aspects we have so carefully hidden, even from ourselves. As Jung wrote, "The shadow is that which a person does not want to be." And when success threatens to make this unwanted part visible, an internal conflict arises, manifesting as the fear of success. Jung taught that the path to psychological wholeness, to what he called individuation, becoming one's true, unique self, inevitably lies through encountering and integrating the shadow. To ignore the shadow is to allow it to control our lives from behind the scenes, manifesting as projections, self-sabotage, inexplicable fears, and recurring negative patterns. Only by accepting and integrating our shadow can we release the energy trapped within it and direct it towards creation, thereby achieving not just external, but deep, internal, meaningful success that resonates with our soul. So, armed with this understanding, let's proceed to meet the 7 most common shadow demons that guard our success. Part 2. Demon number 1. Fear of visibility and judgment. When the shadow fears the light. The first, and perhaps one of the most insidious and common demons blocking our success, is a deep-seated, often irrational fear of becoming visible, of stepping out of the comfort zone of anonymity and consequently facing judgment, criticism, or rejection. Success, by its nature, implies a certain degree of public exposure. Whether it's a promotion at work, launching one's own project, creative self-expression, or even just a happy relationship, all of this makes us more noticeable to others. And it is this very visibility that can become unbearable for our shadow. Shadow manifestation in life. Imagine Maria, a talented artist whose paintings are gathering dust in her studio. Every time she is offered an exhibition, panic overwhelms her. She finds 1,000 reasons to refuse. My works are not ready yet. No one will be interested. They'll criticize me harshly. Or Anton, a brilliant analyst who always remains silent in meetings, even though he has groundbreaking ideas. He is afraid to speak up, fearing he will be considered an upstart, or his ideas will seem foolish. A person possessed by this fear may consciously or unconsciously avoid any situation where they would have to step onto the stage. They prefer to remain in the shadow of failure rather than risk facing possible judgment, even if the probability of success is high. Jungian perspective. The persona and the fear of exposure. From Jung's perspective, this fear is closely linked to our persona, the social mask, the role we play in society to be accepted and meet expectations. The persona is our facade, our calling card. The shadow, on the other hand, contains everything we consider incompatible with this idealized mask. Our weaknesses, past mistakes, unseemly character traits, doubts. The fear of visibility is, in essence, the fear of the persona being exposed. The fear that people will see not the flawless facade, but the imperfect, unworthy, something that, as it seems to us, hides behind it. The shadow whispers, if they find out who I really am, they will reject me, ridicule me, condemn me. Path to transformation and integration. Gold of the shadow. Behind this fear of visibility often lies an immense desire to be seen and accepted in one's authenticity, as well as untapped creative potential or a strong, unique voice yearning to be heard. Integrating this demon means not getting rid of the fear, but learning to act in spite of it. Gradual expansion of the comfort zone. Start allowing yourself to be visible in safe, supportive spaces. Share your opinion with a close friend. Give a small presentation to colleagues. Publish a social media post on a topic that interests you. Practice self-compassion. Treat yourself with the same kindness and understanding you would offer a friend experiencing similar fears. Acknowledge your right to be imperfect. Awareness of projections. Jung taught that criticism and judgment from others are very often their own projections, their unintegrated shadow aspects that they see in you. Understanding this helps not to take others' negativity personally. Acceptance of wholeness. Remember Jung's words, I would rather be whole than good. Wholeness includes both light and shadow. Allow yourself to be multifaceted, not just good or correct. By integrating this fear, you won't completely stop fearing judgment. It's part of human nature. But this fear will no longer paralyze you. You will gain the courage to be yourself, to express your uniqueness, to share your gifts with the world, understanding that your worth does not depend on others' opinions. Your authenticity is your true light, which you will no longer hide. Part 3. Demon number 2. Impostor syndrome. When the shadow whispers, you are not worthy. Have you ever, despite obvious successes, education, experience, and recognition from others, experienced an exhausting feeling that you are actually incompetent, that you are deceiving those around you and are about to be found out? This is the insidious voice of imposter syndrome, and it is a direct product of our shadow, feeding on deep-seated doubts about our own worth. Shadow manifestation in life. Think of Elena, who received a prestigious award for her project. Instead of joy, she felt terror. This is a mistake. They'll soon realize I'm worthless. Or Igor, who was promoted to head of department, but is convinced it's only a matter of time before everyone sees his incompetence. People with pronounced imposter syndrome tend to devalue their achievements, attributing them solely to luck, coincidence, or the help of others, but never to their own efforts and talents. They constantly compare themselves to others, and this comparison almost always turns out not in their favor. They live in chronic fear of not meeting and often self-created expectations. Each new success brings no joy, but only intensifies anxiety. Now they will expect even more from me, and I won't cope. Jungian perspective. Inferiority and the unrecognized gold of the shadow. Jung linked such experiences to an inferiority complex, which can form in childhood under the influence of criticism, devaluation, or comparison with others. In such a person's shadow lies a deep conviction: I am unworthy of success, love, recognition. However, as Jung reminded, the shadow contains not only our flaws, but also our gold, our unrealized talents, strengths, unique abilities that we, for some reason, are afraid or unaccustomed to claim for ourselves. Imposter syndrome is often a fear of one's own gold, a fear of acknowledging one's true strength and worth. It is the shadow that fears being too good, too capable, because this could lead to envy or new, frightening expectations. Path to transformation and integration, gold of the shadow. Behind imposter syndrome often lies a deep desire for mastery, high standards, and genuine competence, as well as modesty, which, when taken to an extreme, turns into self-deprecation. Integrating this demon is the path to recognizing your true worth and owning your achievements. Keep a success journal. Regularly write down all your achievements, big and small. Reread it in moments of doubt. This will help you objectively assess your abilities. Learn to accept compliments. Instead of brushing them off or making excuses, simply say, "Thank you." Acknowledge that you deserve praise. Separate facts from feelings. Your feeling of incompetence is just that, a feeling, not an objective reality. Focus on the facts, your experience, knowledge, results. Recognize your gold. What strengths and talents are you hiding in your shadow? Think about how you can begin to manifest them. Jung said that individuation is the process of becoming who you truly are, in all your fullness. Practice self-acceptance. You don't have to be perfect to be valuable. Allow yourself to be human, with your strengths and weaknesses. Integrating this demon is not arrogance, but healthy self-respect. It is the understanding that you already possess everything necessary to be successful and to deserve this success. Once you begin to recognize your inner worth, the external world will inevitably begin to reflect it. Part 4. Demon number 3. Fear of responsibility and the burden of success, when freedom seems a threat. Success is not just laurels and recognition. It often comes hand in hand with increased responsibility, new obligations, the need to make difficult decisions, and possibly to lead other people. And this seemingly desirable burden can evoke a deep, paralyzing fear in us. What if I can't handle this pressure? What if the expectations turn out to be overwhelming? What if I let down those who are counting on me? Shadow manifestation in life. Imagine Olga, who was offered to head a new promising department. Instead of joy, she feels anxiety and begins to doubt her abilities, although objectively she is ready for this role. She starts to notice only possible difficulties and risks, ignoring the opportunities. Or Maxim, who dreams of his own business but fears the responsibility for employees and financial obligations, so he postpones the start for years. A person experiencing this fear may unconsciously avoid any opportunities that lead to an increase in their status and, accordingly, responsibility. Procrastination becomes their faithful companion. Jungian perspective. Fear of failure, suppressed power, and fear of losing freedom. From Jung's point of view, several shadow aspects can hide behind the fear of responsibility. Fear of failure. Responsibility implies the risk of error, and the shadow, in which the fear of inadequacy lives, will try to avoid situations where this fear can be confirmed. Suppressed desire for power or control. Paradoxically, sometimes the fear of responsibility masks an unconscious or denied desire for power. The ego may fear acknowledging this negative desire within itself, and then it is projected outward as a fear of the responsibility that this power entails. Fear of losing freedom. Success and responsibility can be associated with limitations, loss of personal time and space, and the need to conform to certain frameworks. The shadow, striving for anarchy or fearing being trapped, will resist. Unintegrated father, ruler archetype. If the positive aspect of the father archetype, structure, order, responsibility, or the ruler archetype, wise leadership, is not integrated into the psyche, then responsibility can be perceived as something alien and frightening. Path to transformation and integration, gold of the shadow. Behind this fear often lies unrecognized leadership potential, a desire for order and structure, and a deep sense of duty, which, when unintegrated, turns into a burden. Integration means accepting your power and ability to influence. Break down tasks. Divide large, daunting tasks into small, concrete, manageable steps. This reduces the feeling of being overwhelmed. Develop skills. If you lack certain competencies for a new role, invest in learning. Knowledge and skills build confidence. Learn to delegate. You don't have to do everything yourself. Delegation is a sign of a wise leader, not weakness. Accept your humanity. Jung emphasized the importance of accepting oneself with all one's limitations. You don't have to be omnipotent. Mistakes are part of the learning growth process. Dialogue with the shadow. Explore what specific aspect of responsibility scares you. Is it the fear of failure, loss of freedom, or perhaps you are afraid of your own power? Active imagination can help in this dialogue. Reframe responsibility. Try to look at responsibility not as an unbearable burden, but as an opportunity for growth, for serving something significant, for realizing your potential, and for making a positive impact on the world. By integrating this fear, you do not become reckless. You learn to take responsibility consciously, with an understanding of your strengths and areas for growth. You gain the ability to lead without losing yourself, and to use your success for creation, not for self-assertion at the expense of others. Part 5. Demon number 4. Fear of envy and isolation, when success threatens belonging. Humans are social beings, and the need for belonging, for acceptance by a group, is one of the most basic. Success, especially if it sets us apart from our usual environment, can disrupt this fragile balance. We may encounter envy, misunderstanding, gossip, or even alienation from those we considered close. And the fear of losing these connections, of ending up in isolation, can become a powerful unconscious brake on the path to achievement. Shadow manifestation in life. Think of Svetlana, who received a large grant for her research project. Instead of sharing her joy with colleagues, she hides the news, fearing their envy, or that they will no longer consider her one of them. Or Dmitry, who, after the successful launch of his startup, noticed that old friends called less often, and conversations became strained. A person susceptible to this fear may consciously or unconsciously hide their successes, downplay their significance, in order to not stand out, not jinx it, or not cause negative feelings in others. They may be afraid to share their joys, fearing it will be perceived as boasting. Jungian perspective. The outcast archetype and the fear of the shadow's rejection. From Jung's perspective, this fear can be related to the activation of the outcast archetype, a figure rejected by the group and forced to exist in solitude. Our shadow, where all our fears of rejection and non-acceptance are stored, will strive to avoid such a fate. Jung also said that the process of individuation, of becoming oneself, is often accompanied by periods of necessary loneliness or alienation from collective norms and expectations. The ego may perceive this as a tragedy, but for the self, it can be a necessary stage for attaining authenticity. Path to transformation and integration, gold of the shadow. Behind this fear lies a deep need for acceptance and genuine connection, as well as the capacity for empathy and understanding of others. Integration helps to channel this energy into creating healthy, supportive relationships. Accept reality. Realize that not everyone will genuinely rejoice in your successes, and that's normal. Envy is often a reflection of another person's insecurity and dissatisfaction, not your fault. Develop an inner core. Your self-esteem should not depend on the approval or acceptance of others. Learn to value yourself for who you are, not for how others perceive you. Quality, not quantity of connections. Focus on building deep, authentic relationships with people who genuinely support you and share your values. Your social circle may change, and this is a natural process. Boundaries. Learn to set healthy boundaries with those who exhibit passive aggression, envy, or try to devalue your achievements. Dialogue with the shadow. Explore your fear of loneliness. What does it tell you about your needs? What childhood experiences might it reflect? Reframe loneliness. Jung viewed periods of solitude not as punishment, but as an opportunity for deep introspection and connection with the self. It is a time for sharpening the saw, for inner growth. By integrating this fear, you do not become an unfeeling hermit. You gain the freedom to be yourself and follow your path, even if it means that not everyone can or wants to go with you. Your light and your authenticity will inevitably attract people into your life who resonate with your true essence and are ready to celebrate your success with you. Part 6. Demon number 5. Loyalty to past suffering or the loser identity. When the shadow clings to pain. Sometimes, paradoxically, we become so accustomed to our role as a sufferer, a victim of circumstances, or a chronic loser, that success seems alien, almost a betrayal of this hard-won, yet so familiar, identity. Pain becomes a comfort zone, while happiness and achievements cause anxiety and guilt, shadow manifestation in life. Imagine a person who, after every small success, immediately finds a reason for worry or self-criticism, as if afraid to scare off luck or feel too good. They might constantly tell stories of their past failures, almost with pride, as if it's their main characteristic. They find it hard to accept help or support because it contradicts their role as a lone fighter. They may unconsciously choose partners or situations that confirm their belief that life is a struggle. Jungian perspective. Complexes, trauma, and fixation on the shadow. Jung wrote extensively about complexes, emotionally charged clusters of thoughts, feelings, and memories in the unconscious that powerfully influence our behavior. A victim or loser complex can form as a result of early trauma, constant criticism, neglect, or simply the assimilation of negative family scripts. The ego, striving for predictability, may cling to this shadow identity because, although painful, it is familiar. The unknown of success is more frightening than familiar pain. This may be because suffering provided certain secondary gains: attention, sympathy, justification for inaction. Path to transformation and integration. Gold of the shadow. Behind this loyalty to suffering often lies incredible resilience, the ability to survive, and deep compassion for others who have gone through pain. Integration allows these qualities to be channeled into a creative direction. Awareness of the pattern. The first and most important step is to see and acknowledge this pattern. Notice how you react to success and failure. What stories do you tell yourself about yourself? Work with the past, but don't get stuck in it. It's important to understand the roots of this identity, childhood traumas, family scripts, not to endlessly ruminate on the past, but to see how it affects the present and to let it go. Practice gratitude and positive thinking. Consciously focus on the good in your life, on your strengths and small victories. Keep a gratitude journal. This helps shift the focus from deficit to abundance. Create a new narrative. Start telling yourself a new story. A story about a person who deserves success, is capable of achievements, and merits happiness. Affirmations and visualizations can be helpful, but only if they are supported by inner work. Allow yourself to feel joy. Learn to accept and experience the positive emotions associated with success without sabotaging them with guilt or anxiety. Dialogue with the shadow. Ask your victim part. What are you protecting me from by clinging to suffering? What's the worst that will happen if I become successful? Integrating this demon is in essence giving yourself permission to be happy and successful. It is a paradigm shift from "I am my suffering" to "I am my potential." It takes time and effort, but it is the path to true freedom from the shackles of the past. Part 7. Demon number 6. Unconscious self. Sabotage. When the shadow trips us up. This demon is a master of disguise and unexpected blows. It manifests when we are, seemingly, almost at the goal, when success is about to be in our hands. And then we start to commit strange, irrational acts that spoil everything. We are late for an important meeting, forget a key detail, quarrel with the right person, suddenly lose motivation, or fall into procrastination. This is self-sabotage in action, an unconscious desire to hinder one's own success. Shadow manifestation in life. Marina had been preparing for an important exam for several months, but the day before, she suddenly decided to relax and went to a party, ultimately failing the exam. Stepan had almost completed a major project that could have brought him recognition, but he began to endlessly postpone the final edits until he missed all deadlines. These are classic examples of self-sabotage, which can manifest as procrastination, perfectionism, taken to an absurd degree, impulsive decisions that destroy progress, or a sudden loss of interest before the finish line. Jungian perspective: direct action of the shadow and fear of the consequences of success. Self-sabotage is one of the most vivid manifestations of an unintegrated shadow. The shadow, as we have discussed, may fear visibility, responsibility, envy, the loss of a familiar identity, or simply not believe in its worth of success. And when the conscious ego strives for success, the shadow activates and begins to throw a wrench in the works to avoid these frightening consequences. This may be related to suppressed anger, for example, towards parents who demanded success, and now you are unconsciously rebelling. Hidden guilt, the belief that you do not deserve good things, or a deeply ingrained fear of change. Jung would say that the shadow is thus trying to protect us from the perceived danger that success carries. Path to transformation and integration. Gold of the shadow. Behind self-sabotage often lies enormous unused energy, creativity that we are afraid to express, or a need for control that, in an unintegrated form, is directed against oneself. Integration helps to channel this energy into creation. Develop mindfulness. Learn to track your thoughts, feelings, and behavior, especially in moments when you are prone to self-sabotage. Ask yourself, what am I feeling right now? What am I trying to avoid? Identify your triggers and patterns. When exactly do you start sabotaging yourself? What situations or thoughts trigger this mechanism? Keeping a journal can help. Explore secondary gains. Strangely enough, self-sabotage can have its benefits. For example, by avoiding success, you avoid responsibility, criticism, or the need to change. Recognizing these benefits is the first step to overcoming them. Dialogue with the shadow. Talk to the part of yourself that sabotages. What is it trying to tell you? What are its unmet needs? Use active imagination techniques or simply write it a letter. Set realistic goals and celebrate small victories. This helps build self-belief and reduce the fear of big success. Practice self-compassion. Don't berate yourself for manifestations of self-sabotage. It's just a signal of an internal conflict. Treat yourself with understanding and patience. Integrating self-sabotage is about transforming it from a blind destructive force into a conscious signal indicating which inner wounds or fears require your attention, healing, and love. When you befriend this part of yourself, it will cease to be your enemy and can become a source of deep self-understanding. Part 8. Demon number 7. Fear of losing oneself or one's soul in the pursuit of success, when the shadow fears compromising values. Sometimes our fear of success is more subtle, almost philosophical. We may fear that achieving external, material goals, recognition, or power will inevitably lead to the loss of something much more important and profound: our authenticity, our spiritual values, our connection to the simple joys of life, our soul. This fear is particularly characteristic of people with developed intuition and a deep inner world. Shadow manifestation in life. For example, a talented musician refuses a lucrative contract with a major label, fearing they will be forced to sell their soul and create commercial music that contradicts their inner vision. Or a successful entrepreneur suddenly begins to feel empty, despite all their achievements, and fears they have lost themselves in the pursuit of money and status. A person with such a fear may consciously or unconsciously devalue material success, choosing deliberately less ambitious but spiritually pure in their understanding. Paths. Jungian perspective. Projection of negative aspects of the shadow onto success and fear of losing connection with the self. From a Jungian point of view, such a fear can be related to several mechanisms. Projection of one's own shadow. A person may project their own shadow qualities, such as greed, selfishness, or a tendency to manipulate, onto the concept of success, and then fear becoming infected by them upon achieving success. Fear of losing connection with the self. The self, according to Jung, is our true, deep, whole I, our inner center, connected to the spiritual dimension. There is a fear that the pursuit of external attributes of success, often dictated by the ego or collective norms, will lead us away from this inner source of meaning and authenticity. Negative experiences or observations. Perhaps the person has seen examples where successful people did indeed lose their best qualities and generalized this experience. Unintegrated sage, hermit archetype. If these archetypes, which value the inner world and detachment from worldly bustle, are not balanced by other, more active archetypes, an imbalance towards denying external success may arise. Path to transformation and integration, gold of the shadow. Behind this fear lies a deep commitment to one's values, a desire for authenticity and spiritual integrity. These are invaluable qualities. Integration helps not to renounce success, but to find a type of success that will be in harmony with the soul. Define your true values. What is truly important to you in life? What do you want your contribution to the world to be? Create your own definition of success. Success is not a universal concept. It can be very different for different people. Align your external goals with your internal values. Distinguish between ego success and self-realization. Jung emphasized that true success is individuation, the process of becoming oneself in all one's fullness. This may include external achievements, but they should serve to unfold your deep potential, not just satisfy the ego. Practice mindfulness and grounding. Regular practices that help you stay in touch with your inner world, meditation, nature, creativity, will help you not to lose yourself in the hustle of achievements. Look for examples of success with soul. Find people who, in your opinion, have managed to achieve success without losing their humanity and spirituality. Their experience can be inspiring. Remember that you can choose. You can consciously choose which opportunities to accept and which to refuse based on your values. You can build your path to success ethically and authentically. Integrating this fear is about gaining the wisdom to combine active engagement in the world with a deep inner connection to oneself. It is the understanding that you can be successful in the material world and simultaneously spiritually rich if your success serves to express your soul, not suppress it. Part 9. The Path to Light. Integrating the shadow as the key to genuine and inspiring success. So, we have walked through the dark corridors of our psyche, met the 7 shadow demons that so often and so insidiously block our path to success. But Carl Jung, being a true healer of the soul, never left us merely with a diagnosis. His teachings are always illuminated by hope and point the way to integration, to achieving wholeness. What does it mean to integrate these shadow aspects that fuel our fear of success? It is not a struggle, not suppression, and not banishment. It is, rather, an alchemical process of transformation, where the lead of our fears and limitations is turned into the gold of our strength and wisdom. Awareness. Lux prima, first light. As the alchemist said, the first step to transformation is awareness. We must courageously acknowledge the existence of these shadow aspects within ourselves, without judgment or shame. Simply notice, yes, a fear of visibility lives in me, and it manifests like this. Or, yes, I tend to self-sabotage when success is near, and here are my typical patterns. This requires honesty and self-observation. Jung said, until you make the unconscious conscious, it will direct your life and you will call it fate. Acceptance, acceptatio. The next step is to accept these parts of ourselves as having a right to exist. They did not arise out of nowhere. Each of them, even the most destructive, once served, or tried to serve, some protective function, albeit distorted. Fear might have protected from pain, self-sabotage from disappointment. Acceptance is not approval of destructive behavior, but recognition of the reality of one's inner world. It is deep self-compassion. Dialogue with the shadow, colloquium. Jung placed great importance on dialogue with various parts of our psyche. He developed the method of active imagination, which allows us to hear the voices of our shadow. We can ask ourselves questions. What is this fear of success really protecting me from? What deep need is it trying to satisfy by blocking me? What is the worst thing, in its opinion, that will happen if I achieve success? The answers can be unexpected and very profound. Record these dialogues. Draw the images that come. Finding gold in the shadow. Aurum in Circor. Gold in dung. Jung taught that the shadow is not only a repository of our flaws, but also a source of enormous energy and unrealized potential. Our gold. In every shadow aspecting success, a resource is hidden. For example, behind the fear of visibility may lie a strong desire to be authentically seen and appreciated, as well as undiscovered talents waiting for their moment. Behind impostor syndrome, a deep desire for mastery and quality. Behind the fear of responsibility, leadership potential. The task is not to destroy the demon, but to transform its energy, to find this gold and consciously use it. Conscious choice and action, actio. When we bring the shadow into the light, become aware of its messages, and find resources in it, we cease to be its slaves. We gain the ability to make a conscious choice. Instead of allowing fear to paralyze us, we can, acknowledging its presence, still take a step forward. We can choose to act not from the shadow, but from our whole self, which includes both light and shadow. This means making small, courageous decisions every day that lead us to our genuine success, even if it causes discomfort. Integrating the shadow is a lifelong process. It is a path, not a destination. It is a gradual expansion of our consciousness, including more and more previously denied aspects of ourselves. When we stop fighting our shadow, when we stop spending a colossal amount of energy suppressing it, this energy is freed. And it is precisely this energy that becomes the fuel that allows us to move towards our true goals, towards a success that does not destroy, but enriches our soul. Conclusion. From fear to strength, your inspiring journey. The fear of success is a deeply human, multifaceted, and often painful experience. And, as we have seen today, following the wisdom of Carl Jung, its roots often go into the most hidden corners of our shadow. But this knowledge is not a reason for despair. On the contrary, it is a map that shows us the path to liberation and transformation, the path to the strength that is already within us. By recognizing our inner demons face to face, understanding their language and their hidden motives, we gain an invaluable key to their integration. The path to genuine, meaningful success is not an escape from our fears or a denial of our shadow sides. It is a courageous and compassionate journey towards accepting ourselves in our entirety, with all our light and all our shadow. It is a journey towards that wholeness which Jung considered the highest goal of human life. Remember, as Carl Jung taught, the true purpose of life is individuation, becoming who you are meant to be. And on this path, the fear of success can become not an obstacle, but a powerful catalyst for self-knowledge and growth. Every shadow demon you meet and integrate gives you its strength, its wisdom, its gold. You become not just more successful in the external world, you become deeper, wiser, and freer within. Do not be afraid of your light. Do not be afraid of your shadow. They are both integral parts of your unique and precious being. And only by embracing them both, by acknowledging them both, can you truly unlock your potential and shine at full strength, achieving a success that will be not just an external accomplishment, but a deep expression of your soul, your true self. Thank you for embarking on this deep and, I hope, inspiring journey with us. If this video resonated with your soul, if you recognized yourself, your fears, but also felt a surge of hope and strength, please give it a like, share this video with those to whom it might be useful, and subscribe to our channel. Many more fascinating dives into the limitless world of Jungian psychology and the mysteries of the human soul await us. And now I want to ask you a question that may become the beginning of your own dialogue with the shadow. Which of these 7 shadow demons blocking success is most actively manifesting in your life today? And what is the first, small but courageous step you are ready to take to begin its integration, to turn it from a demon into an ally? Share your thoughts, insights, and feelings in the comments below. Let's create a space of support and mutual growth on this path to wholeness and success that comes from the heart. Until next time, and may your path be illuminated not only by the light of success, but also by the wisdom of your own, accepted and integrated shadow.